In my city, the place that I was born and reared, last night at 10:30 on Kincaid Avenue, the most horrific, barbaric, medieval style attack happened. Sorry, I had to pause there, drawn back a wee tear. I'll stick to the facts with no speculation. A man was filmed trying to decapitate another man's head on the street, and when it was announced by the news, the mainstream, it was just called a stabbing. No, this was different. This was something that we haven't seen in our home city before, and I'm telling you, Northern Ireland has a history. We've seen a few things with the paramilitaries, etc. But this has a different feel to it. I wanted to post this while the victim was fighting for his life, critical, in hospital right now. He hasn't passed. It's a miracle that he hasn't passed. But he is fighting for his life in hospital. I have been on my knees praying this morning to Jesus, because it's Jesus, guys, that we need to turn to. I only made a video 2 days ago saying that all these things were going to increase. I'm praying for this man that's in critical care. These sorts of attacks we're not used to seeing in our city. Very raw. As I say, I call it like a medieval style attack, because that's what it was. Absolutely brutal. And downplayed as usual when you go to the newspapers and the mainstream, but guys, they have an agenda. They're downplaying everything. And I'm so grateful to the Lord that I have the discernment to know what's coming, to know that these type of attacks, they're going to be people's daily life here in this country. It won't be so unfamiliar anymore if you don't get to know Christ now. Scripture told us all about it. In Revelation 6 it tells us that a loaf of bread will be worth a day's pay. That's where we are right now. And they're downplaying that as well. They're downplaying the food shortage and what's going to happen when the oil runs out. They're downplaying everything, and I'm a watcher. I have the discernment to know, and I don't like fear mongering. It was only a couple of days ago I posted about swords and about how all these things are going to increase, and that in the last days people will be decapitated and beheaded that do not worship the beast, will not take the mark. And this is like the birth pains leading up to that. I wish I was wrong, but so far the Bible hasn't proved nothing to be true and faithful. And that's why, rather than following men with an agenda like Farage or Robinson or Musk, men with agenda to push you full of rage, to push you full of anger, we need the power of prayer, because these things are coming, guys, no matter what. Today, this sort of barbaric medieval attack on the streets of Belfast is so unfamiliar to us, so strange to us. But if you are not redeemed and you are not removed by Christ, this is going to be a daily for you when this one world government comes in. Scripture tells us people will be beheaded on the streets. I'm going to give you a timeline, okay? A timeline. Because this timeline will even show unbelievers, it'll plant a seed within the unbelievers so that they will then know what time it is. Calendar back in the days of Enoch went by 364 days instead of 365 days. But from the year Jesus was crucified, 30 AD, until 2026, this year gives you 1,100 296 years. So to get to the 2,000 year point of when Christ died for us on the cross, that will be 2,000 years by the time we get to the 2030 agenda. So we are 3.5 years now until 2030. 3.5 years until the 2030 agenda. Christ died 30 AD. He was baptized by John the Baptist in 26 AD. 2026. It all aligns to this 2030 agenda that they announced in 2023. What's 2023 to 2030? 7 years. We are in the most biblical time, and our history books have never ever seen a time like this before. And these sorts of attacks, like you witnessed at 10:30 last night, going to be your daily life here in this earth if you don't turn to Christ. And we are in the birth pains, so it's only going to increase between now and this point. And if you don't believe in Scripture, well then why has Scripture told you in Revelation 6 about the food shortages? Why does the timeline add up so precisely, so perfectly? Because Jesus told us the beginning from the end. And I am telling you, with all these things increasing, these brutal, horrific, medieval attacks increasing, that poor man, he's the same age as my husband and he's in hospital fighting for his life. With these things increasing, guys, we need Jesus. We need him. We don't need man. We don't need any other man with agenda. You can't trust any of them, but you can put your trust and your faith in God. He's only ever been faithful and true. He's the only faithful and true thing that we have. And the timeline and what he shows you from the beginning to the end of that book, even the food shortages that they're now downplaying across the news, and it's all there. Revelation 6, it's all there. It's public knowledge. These decapitating medieval style attacks have been taking place forever in places like Congo, Lebanon and Gaza, etc., and we have turned the other cheek, but now it's on our doorstep. We can't do that, and we are going to see these things on the rise during these birth pains, and I am hoping this plants a seed with people. And please, please, please pray today. Prayer is what's needed. The power of prayer. Anyone that's watching this, I have an eye on my head making this video. I cannot unsee what I see on the streets of my own city, and this unfamiliar sighting on our streets is going to get very, very familiar. It's already taking place in other areas. Don't follow any man with agenda. Follow God. Pray for the man that's critical. Pray for the man who tried to save his life, how he must be feeling today, and pray for the family of the victim also. Time to wake up. It's time to get discernment. It's time to know the truth. Scripture has always been honest, faithful and true, and that's how I'm able to tell what time it is. That's how I'm able to make a video mentioning knives, etc., about 3 days before this even happened, because God is the only one that is faithful and true. These unfamiliar attacks are about to come very, very familiar. No time like the present to be saved through Christ's grace, while the grace is still there to be given. Give you the timeline, guys. Time is just about up. You're going to be seeing a lot of things happening on this earth that you've never seen before. On your own streets, on your own doorstep. Maybe by some miracle, this poor victim pulls through.